Welcome back to the Cops and Writers Podcast bonus series, where I'm reading chapters from my upcoming book, Police Stories, The Rookie Years, True Crime, Chaos, and Life as a Big City Cop. I'm Patrick O'Donnell, retired Milwaukee police sergeant, and I'll be your host for tonight's show. Quick update. A lot has happened since we last talked. I just got back from the WTMJ AM 620 radio show here in Milwaukee talking about my new book, Police Stories, The Rookie Years. The response has been incredible. The book is now available on pre-order on Amazon and is currently a #1 new release in biographies of law enforcement. Also, today I sent the manuscript off to my editor. Today's story is called Wow, That's Realistic. Let me set the stage for you. It was about 2 a.m., and I was at District 5 with my partner for the night, Rachel. We caught an arrest on our first call of the night. We were in the district processing our arrest and heard the blood-curdling scream from the front lobby. Of course, everyone in the building ran to check it out. What we found in the lobby, let's just say timing is everything. This one leans hard into dark humor in the face of someone's worst night. So, here we go, Chapter 28. Wow, that's realistic. It was a snowy and bitterly cold January night. It was the kind of night that you didn't want to leave your warm bed and come into work when most people were thinking about going to bed for the night. I was assigned to Squad 51 with Rachel because Patty was working inside that night. This cop had been on the job a few years longer than myself, so that made her the senior cop for the night. She would do the driving and most of the decision making. Her regular partner, Grace, was off that night. Judging by the sneer on her face when the sergeant told her she would work with me, it was going to be a long, frosty night. I should explain. During the week, her partner Grace worked with me 2 nights in a row. The first night we worked together, it didn't start out well. We jacked up a guy who was loitering in a known high drug trafficking area of the district. I was running a wanted check on my handheld radio, and the volume was too high. She shot me daggers with her eyes when she heard the volume on my radio was set, what my volume on the radio was set at. She was right. The last thing you want is the console operator coming back saying the guy you have unsecured is wanted for murder. Yes, I've had that happen. The guy came back clean, so we let him go. When we got back into the squad, Grace stared straight ahead with no emotion on her face. She spoke in a monotone voice that crackled with anger. You can't have the volume of your radio that high. We don't want the bad guys knowing what we know. Get it? I apologized. You're 100% correct. It won't happen again. We spent the rest of the night not talking to each other unless it was necessary. The following night, we were assigned to work together again. It was a slow start to the shift, and most of the shift went out to the garage to smoke, drink caffeinated beverages, and bullshit, otherwise known as smoking and joking. Our desk sergeant appeared with a black coffee and a cigarette to start his night. Grace didn't waste any time. I'm not going to fucking work with them 2 nights in a row. The now angered sergeant threw his cigarette on the ground and said, You listen to me, Grace. I give you most of the days off that you want and anything else that you want. Not this time. You're working with them. That's final. He spun around and did an about face and exited the garage. I raised my hand. You all know I'm here, right? I then looked Rachel in the eye, like I'm standing right next to you. Everyone in the garage left without saying a word. Grace stormed out towards our squad, with me behind her thinking, this is going to be a fun night. We took a couple of calls for service, hung out in the front of drug houses, scaring away prospective clients. In 8 hours, we didn't take a break. No going to the bathroom or drinking or eating anything. Unless we had to, neither of us said a word to each other. I'm sure she told her partner Rachel all about that piece of shit O'Donnell and his incompetence. That would explain the scowl on Rachel's face. On our first hitch of the night, we wound up arresting someone with little to no fanfare. Dude had to go to jail, and we were his ride. We were in the assembly writing up the arrest, and Rachel seemed to warm up to me. She was actually starting small talk. Maybe I'm not that bad after all. We were both heading to the front office to get the lieutenant to sign our paperwork when a blood-curdling scream came from the front office. Help! He's been shot! Rachel and I ran to the front office with our guns drawn. Patty was already on the radio with the dispatcher. This is the desk sergeant at District 5. We have a black male in his mid-20s who appears to be P&B, pulseless, non-breathing, with an apparent gunshot wound to his head. We need a med unit 1017 in our front lobby. There were a couple of cops giving the victim CPR, but everyone knew he was gone by looking at his eyes that were staring into nothing, not blinking. Also, there was a fair amount of blood and brain matter oozing from the crater over his eye. The fire department got there in record time and did their best with what they had. There was no saving this guy tonight. Patty took the girl that dragged him into the lobby into the break room. The lieutenant pointed at Rachel and me. We knew this was our baby now. I went out in the lobby and secured the scene. Another cop took the outside and put up yellow tape and secured the SUV they came in. Once the scene was locked down inside, I ran outside to check out the SUV and saw a white Lincoln Navigator that had a tremendous amount of blood on the gray leather seats. There was also a pistol on the passenger floor mat. Patty left the break room when Rachel came in. After the dust settled, Patty gave me the scoop on what happened. I guess they were at CC Havana's on Keefe and got into it with another couple. They all ran to their vehicles, and the running gunfight started up. The gals were doing the driving while their boyfriends were doing the shooting. Our gal in the break room drove her boyfriend here when she realized part of his head was missing and dragged him into our lobby. You know the rest. I asked. So, for the big question, did this guy get killed on the freeway or in the city streets? If the crime occurred on the freeway, it would be the sheriff's department investigation. If it happened in the city streets, it would be ours. Patty smiled, rubbing her chin, pondering. That's a good question, Patrick. Our homicide unit and the sheriff's homicide unit also showed up and had a meeting of the minds in the conference room. It was decided that we would take the lead since we had a small army for a homicide unit, and the sheriff had to wake up their 2 homicide detectives. The lieutenant told us to go check outside the bar and trace where the Lincoln went west to get onto the freeway and then off on the Locust off-ramp for casings or any other evidence. We left her office, and I stopped Rachel, pointing to the victim on the lobby floor, who still had his eyes wide open and some tubes sticking out of his mouth. Behind him was our crime prevention display. Every year, the different districts would put up a display as part of Police Week. This year, we had the anti-drunk driving display with a casket from the local funeral home that they lent us. There was even yellow crime scene tape around it. I pointed all this out to Rachel, who was having a difficult time keeping in her laughter. Oh, the irony of it all. We went to the bar, but it was long closed. The snow was now coming down hard, and we both knew we would need a metal detector, which we didn't have, to find any brass. We drove slowly west on Keefe and made our way down the freeway ramp. Just as we got on the highway, a plow truck buzzed past us, plowing up the snow in our lane and the shoulder in a giant cloud of white. I laughed. There goes all of our evidence. Rachel laughed out loud. You know what? You're not all that bad after all. I guess I got the stamp of approval, and she made up her own mind, I thought to myself, as we pulled back into the District 5 parking lot. We did some more reports, and before long it was 7 a.m. The body had been removed, but the blood, brain, and tape were still there. We both were walking to the lieutenant's office, and the captain was walking towards us. We gave him a, "Good morning, sir." He returned the greeting, stopped, and looked at the lobby. Damn, that is one realistic crime scene display. We both looked at him, realizing that he didn't know what had happened in our lobby last night, and in unison answered back, "Yes, sir, very realistic." Well, that's chapter 28 from Police Stories, The Rookie Years. If you want to read the rest, and trust me, there are 33 more chapters just like this one, the book is available on pre-order right now on Amazon. Just search Police Stories, The Rookie Years, Patrick O'Donnell, or check the link in the show notes. Thanks for listening. Next week, I'm reading you one of the most intense chapters of the book. It's called All City Assist. 3 dead bodies, cops getting shot at, and a sea of casings. You don't want to miss this one. Until next time, let's be careful out there.